I'm Caroline Niehoff, and I'm interviewing.
Hi guys, my name is Ryle Carver. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for Dining Services at Virginia Tech.
I have some questions. What is Virginia Tech doing to help sustainable farming?
So we have a few things going on. When we talk about our local food procurement, that's sort of our biggest project that we work on. So every year we calculate our local food percentage, and that's basically the amount of food that we've purchased compared to all of the food that we've been purchased that is considered local. And we base that off of the ASHE STARS standard, which stands for the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. And they have a tracking system. So there's a national standard for how you can track your local purchases, your organic purchases, that sort of thing. So every year we track that, and in the last couple of years we've gone from about 2% when I started here 3 years ago to 13%. So a lot of that is because we started tracking it a little better, but a lot of it is because we've been really trying to improve the amount that we're purchasing. So now, sustainable farming can be kind of tricky because what really does that mean? The way that we have defined it is kind of lining up with those ASHE STARS standards. So for ASHE STARS, local equals within a 250-mile radius. That means all of the state of Virginia is included, which is helpful because we are such a big institution. We can reach from further. I know that the Blacksburg Farmers Market, for example, uses a 50-mile radius. So kind of the size and the scope of the operation changes sort of what your definition is of local and sustainable food. We also have the Dining Services Farm at Kentland, which is a 6-acre farm at the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences Research Farm. And we produce anything from potatoes to cilantro to broccoli, and we work in all year long, but our primary season is in the summer and fall just because of the seasonality of where we are. But for the 2015 season, we're on track to bring in about 50,000 pounds of produce from the Dining Services Farm. So that's a significant chunk of that total 13% local food purchasing.
How feasible is sustainable farming?
Well, it really depends on how you're defining it, and I think what's unique about sustainable farming is that it is so diverse. So you can find sustainable farming systems in cities, you can find them in the country, but it's sort of an ever-changing sort of thing. So we've defined it our way in that we focus mostly on local because we want to be able to support Virginia grown, which is something already in place that we can kind of piggyback off of. The Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for Virginia kind of promotes that, so we can just kind of piggyback off of that program. So that's been really helpful for us to be able to find those local growers and purchase more from them.
How many resources, what resources has Virginia Tech been using to help promote sustainable farming?
Right, so what we purchase from vendors that's not from the Dining Services Farm, we try very hard to maintain a certain level of consistency with our prices. So we'll compare what the national average is to what the local price is, and if they're competitive, that's when we'll choose the local option. And we value local, that we say if it's within a certain range between the national and the local, then we'll choose the local. So if it's twice as much, we're probably not going to choose it, but if it is a smaller increase in price per pound, then we're probably going to go for it. But the other thing is that we have the Farms and Fields project at Owens Food Court, and because that place is meant to serve local, organic, sustainable options, and we know that our customers, you guys, will pay a little bit more for that quality of product, we're able to sometimes buy a higher cost item and then sort of pass that on to you guys, because you guys have spoken, you guys have said that you really appreciate having those options and that you're willing to pay a little bit more for a panini made with bread from down the road and cheese from 60 miles north and that sort of thing. But we also have our farm manager is a horticulture professor, but also works for dining. So dining and horticulture have split funded his position. So there's an example of sort of leveraging support from both sides of the aisle, from both the College of Agriculture and the Division of Student Affairs and Dining Services. So there's a lot more excitement about the program and a lot more buy-in. So that's been really great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Hollis Hatfield, and I'm interviewing.
Benjamin Harder of Denville Permaculture Farm.
Okay, thank you for being here. And our first question is, how do you define sustainable farming?
Yes, sustainable farming is farming that is done to ensure production in the future, so that you're trying to not take out too much that the system collapses. And I guess in farming, that would be creating a cycle with cover cropping and nutrient management, so you can ensure proper nutrient level for future crops. But that's kind of one answer. There's lots of answers to that.
Oh, that was good, thank you. Also, how feasible would you say that sustainable farming is in the Blacksburg community?
I'd say that sustainable agriculture is very popular here in Blacksburg. Most of the farmers market vendors practice sustainable agriculture. And even in a larger sense, most of our region is very forward-thinking like that, in that production style.
Thank you. Also, do you practice sustainable farming?
Yes, we practice a form of sustainable production called permaculture, where we try to harness natural ecosystem benefits for our benefit, such as growing beneficial plants for beneficial insects, so I do not have to spray my raspberry crop.
Oh, cool. And what's your reason for practicing sustainable farming? What motivates you to do so?
To not be bound to corporate agriculture, to not have to buy corporate seeds, to not have to be tied to chemicals. Farming has been tightly tied to chemical production since World War II, and we kind of need to go back to before World War II. In my opinion. So those are some of the reasons, but especially chemical and seed companies have kind of ruined agriculture, and that's part of the pull for me to practice sustainable agriculture.
All right, thank you so much.
Cool. But also sustainability.